Welcome everyone to our panel discussion titled Halal Trade Dynamics, the Private Sector Synergies and Trade Organizations. As you all know, the global halal market is flourishing, which is driven by growing halal Muslim population and rising consumer demand for halal products. However, navigating this dynamics landscape requires collaboration between the key players. Our esteemed panelists bring together a wealth of experience from both the private sector and the trade organizations. We will delve into the crucial relationship between these entities and explore how they can work together to foster successful halal trade. Let me start with our first panelist from Turkey, Mr. Yunus Itta, the chairman of the World Halal Summit Council. He will be talking about the challenges faced by the private sector in the halal trade from the Turkish perspective.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Chairman. Selamun Aleyküm ve Rahmetullah ve Berekatuh. Dear brothers and sisters, highly esteemed members Halal Business Forum, I'm truly honored to speak to you today at this important event that brings us together to advance in the halal industry. I want to express my sincere thanks to the organizers for giving us this platform, which help us navigate the UPS and downs of the halal trade world. In the face of rapid global transformations and shifting dynamics, the private sector in Turkey encounters the myriad of challenges within the halal trade domain. The burgeoning Muslim population worldwide, anticipated to reach 2.2 billion by 2030, underscores the immense potential of the halal market. However, alongside this growth comes to the imperative for the digital transformation, as the proliferation of e-commerce reshapes consumer behaviors and demands. Moreover, while the Muslim consumer base expands across the various sectors, there is a pressing need to navigate evolving performance of non-Muslim consumers who increasingly seek the halal products. This intersectionally underscores the imperative for the business adapt swiftly to meet diverse market demands while upholding halal standards. Technological advancements such as automation and blockchain offer promising avenues for the enhancing efficiency and accessibility within the halal trade. However, the adaptation of this innovation poses its own set of the challenges, necessitating strategic investment and skilled workforce development. We need to highlight that the Russian Muslim market is quite promising. The Muslim community in Russia continues to grow, getting over the point more than 25 million. Russia has been supporting activities to promote Islamic finance for years. This contribution is very important, as the Russian Muslim market needs the financial resources compatible with Islam. An increasing Russian Muslim consumer spending complements the Islamic economy landscape. It provides growth opportunities for both business and institutions. Nowadays, Russia, just like many other countries, is experiencing a paradigm shift in consumer demand, with considerably higher number of consumers spending on halal products and services. With the Turkish context, the adherence to international standards and regulation is paramount to fostering trust and credibility in halal products. Leveraging the expertise of the institution, such as Turkish Standard Institution and Turkish Accreditation Agency, Halal Accreditation Agency, is essential in upholding the integrity and quality of Turkish standards, particularly in the context of the international trade with entities like the European Union. Furthermore, while Turkey boasts a rich history of halal trade and robust infrastructure supported by institutions like a Ministry of Trade, there remains a need concerted efforts to addressing emerging challenges and seize opportunities in the global halal market. In light of the challenges, I'm pleased to announce forthcoming World Halal Summit and Halal Expo Istanbul to be held from 27th to 30 November 2024 at the Istanbul Expo Center. These events serve as a pivotal platform for the fostering collaboration, knowledge exchange, and strategic partnership within the halal sector, both domestically and internationally. Having become an international brand, World Halal Summit is planning to enter the global arena. Dear brothers and sisters, in conclusion, as we address the complex challenges facing in the private sector in halal trade, let us reaffirm our dedication to innovation, collaboration, and ethical leadership. Through collective efforts and unwavering commitment, we can overcome these obstacles and pave the way for the future of prosperity and inclusivity in the halal industry. It's obvious that halal market will keep its key role achieving the common goals. Therefore, we are willing to support all activities that promote halal as an industry, global phenomenon, mainstream, and halal as a modern lifestyle. Thank you very much. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Thank you, Mr. Yunus, for this high valuable input. And thank you for highlighting the role of Turkey in enforcing the global halal market and driving economy. Now we'll move for our next panelist. From Egypt, Engineer Ashraf Tambuli, the Chief Executive Officer of the Islamic Chamber Halal Service, will be telling us about the global private sector opportunities in the halal trade.
Well, thank you, Mohammed. Assalamu alaikum. It's a pleasure to be here. Let me start by saying a few numbers about the market, and I'll stay with just two numbers. One of each 4 people on this planet is a Muslim. That's 25% of the population of the planet are Muslims. That's a very easy mathematics. The 25% of the global trade and production should be halal. That's very easy mathematics. The market is very large, and it's growing at a much faster rate than a traditional market. So let's take the food market, for example, which is growing around 3.7% annually, where the halal food market is growing around 7.8% annually. Why? Simply because the market, the consumer base is very large, and it's growing. Now, for such a market, the infrastructure need to be there. Like any market, it's an ecosystem, it's a big ecosystem. So there has to be standards, there has to be accreditation body to regulate the market. And there has to be catalyst, and the catalyst basically is the NGO, the Chamber of Commerce, gathering the businesses together, lobbying for the requirements and others. And there is the business, our main player, the private business, who are the main player in this industry, developing new products, branding it, and marketing it to the consumer. Now, of course, we cannot forget or ignore the consumer, who actually in every other industry is driving the market. And this market is still yet in its growth stage. It's still developing. It's not yet into a real developed and mature stage. So the consumer is not yet driving the market, but eventually, I would say within 5 years, the consumer will be driving the market, making his requirement and mandating it and making the business following it. I'm actually dreaming of the day that I can fly on any airliners, request a halal meal, and I receive it. And I go to a hotel and I request my room to be halal friendly, and I receive it. And I go to drive in the country, any country, I'm not talking about Muslim country, I'm talking about any country, and find a halal restaurant, not a full menu, but I feel some meals in the menu labeled as halal. That's in response to 25% of the population requiring this. Business has to comply. And if business started to comply, NGOs and Chamber of Commerce will comply, will follow. And if they complied, governments will follow. They have to, inevitably. So the market is big. The market is driven by demand that's growing very fast. And marketing is very important at this stage to increase awareness. As I'm saying, the supply is yet very few compared with the demand. And the supply starts with awareness. And that's part of what we are doing here is awareness, increasing the awareness of business. What's the opportunities in this market? What's the challenges in this market? What's the requirement to pursue this market and get to it? How I can brand a product to have a better and a niche market. I was talking to an Egyptian company working in the cosmetics, and they were pursuing halal certificate. And when I was asking them, why are you doing this? They told me, because we are exporting to Poland. And I start wondering, why? Why would you do that? And the question was very easy. If I'm having a typical lipstick, I'm competing with all lipstick manufacturers in the world. But if I'm having a halal lipstick, I'm not competing with anybody. I have a niche market that I'm playing with. And that's very smart. That's the concept of a blue ocean. Find a market, a big market, a growing market, and start pursuing it. That's what smart business is doing. And that's what we are preaching. Start doing this. We're preaching business to do this in any place in the world, not only Muslim world, but also in the non-Muslim world. Start pursuing the market correctly. If you start pursuing the market, it's endless opportunities. Now, once the company is willing and able, they get certified and they get ready to get into this market. A lot of certification bodies around the world. My message is only choose a certification body that is accredited. Get a certificate that can get you into places. Not any certificate, not the cheapest certificate by any means. Once we do that, you need to start going into the market, approach the market, brand it as such, go into exhibition, go into trade missions, tell people about your products. You will find a lot of customers. I'm not talking about consumers, I'm talking about trade partners. Trade partners are willing and able and ready to get your products. I personally go to a lot of food and beverage events like Anuga and Sial. I'm not selling any events, but in there, I find a lot of queries and questions for halal ingredients. How can I source it? How can I get it? There is appetite for this. So again, my message is the market is huge. The demand is there. We just need to approach it correctly. Thank you, Mohammed.
Thank you, Engineer Ashraf. Can't agree more on how big is the halal market, how fast is it growing, and it's driven by consumers, which is our ultimate goal, and all of the workers in the halal market are their ultimate objective is to serve the Muslim consumers. Muslim countries or non-Muslim countries, they are all Muslims. Thank you. Now I will move for our next panelist who is attending with us virtually from UAE, Mr. Thomas Guerrero. Mr. Thomas is the director of the Halal Trade and Marketing Center, and will be telling us about the role of trade organization in facilitating networking and market opportunities for the halal business. Okay. We will move for our next panelist, and we will back for Mr. Thomas. Professor Halima Honeto from Minara, the author and chair BRICS CDW, who will be telling us about the role of organizations in facilitating market access for halal business. Professor Halima, the floor is yours.
Jazakallah. Thank you so much to the organizers. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh to everyone. I think for me, being a researcher is second nature. So obviously a lot of the work that I do is based on science, which is often an element of not predictability, but more assurance. And hence my discussion is based from the research that I've undergone, but more importantly also the case studies in terms of the work that I undertake in the organizations that I participate in. And I think as we are understanding that halal is but a next to nature component in many countries, and those, if you give someone a choice, they would definitely choose halal. I've had this experience quite throughout my interactions because often people would say that the halal food tastes so different. So surely there's a science to this and it resonates. And I think in terms of the organizational components, specifically for me, I would like to discuss with you the policy advocacy, access to export, promotion and trade missions, market intelligence and gathering and analysis. And on the organizational and leadership coordinating in terms of stakeholders in this regard, chambers of commerce serve as pivotal entities for harmonizing the efforts of diverse local stakeholders engaged in halal industry. And through the effective leadership, they align the activities of governmental bodies, regulatory agencies, industries, associations, and business industries alike. And secondly to this, we find that the facilitation of strategic partnerships, and without partnerships, we know that not much can be done. Hence, the partnership element becomes strategic in terms of broadening the market research of halal enterprises within the chambers of commerce, actively facilitating the establishment of symbiotic partnerships between local and international stakeholders, cultivating synergistic alliances that fuel expansion and innovation and the market portrays within the global halal space. I think networking is a word that is used quite loosely, but networking is an important tool. You are your network worth in terms of your worth. And that's a conversion to me which becomes important. As one of the speakers has said before, unless you are known, you would really not be relevant. And the chambers play a very pivotal role in this, in terms of the trade delegations and business symposiums and networking forums. I mean, we are here today, and I'm not sure how many people I've networked with and are an opportunity. And this is the role that is often through the BRICS perspective seen largely as an element which is a catalyst for growth, and certainly for the component of the chamber to play a leading role is but evident in the work that it does. Communication, facilitation, and information dissemination as a key component. And these days we are very lucky because we are in the day of the fourth industrial revolution. Other countries have actually moved to the sixth industrial revolution, and this revolution tends to disrupt the norm, the status quo, in terms of getting information out there. Information is at the fingertips of our hands in terms of you wanting to gain resonance. But surely there must be a convergence of the information for you to actually get maximum out of it, because some of the information we all know is in such a distinguished way, and you do need a portal where this information could be configured and generated, and what is then given out would be the most accurate and most comprehensive information and real-time data, because data drives the decision making. In research terminologies, there's a component that is called data-driven decision making, which is calculated through science. And if your decision is calculated to science, the chances of that decision being wrong are minimized. It's mostly 98.5% based to you having to gamble. And once you are in the business of doing business, you can't afford to be taking chances, and therefore your decision making becomes quite important, and this is driven through the chambers that would be in existence. Provision of tailored business support and training. I think being in academic capacity development is key, because as we converge, people come together and belong towards a certain goal, but in this, there are experiences that need to be shared, and therefore the training, because new technologies come into place and new ways of doing things are often dispatched, and this could influence a number of your activities within an institution, and therefore having a central component towards this is also a crucial element. Advocating for halal industry standards and quality assurance becomes but a norm, and as you know, there are many different organizations that offer this. However, there is a distinguishing factor in terms of how you package the information and how it needs to be actually dispersed towards the masses, and therefore having to play this role crucially and sourced information that is of current and that is developed and driven by science. As you would know, a lot of work is actually and resources put into science because everyone wants to be the best in what they do, and being the best is determined by what is your difference. And therefore, if you have research interventions in terms of the dissemination of your information, and surely you are going to be able to transform and be able to give the service towards your members that is most current. I'm not sure whether that's a cue for me to round off, but marketing intelligence gathering and analysis, as we know, everything has an intelligent component to it, and this component is quite high ranked. As you would know, countries pitch each other towards the intelligence that they have, and this intelligence could be housed within the chamber that you belong to, and therefore it must be driven from that perspective. In terms of policy advocacy and governance, we find that through the chambers, the advocacy for policy to be changed, to be more friendly towards the institutions that are willing to do business. As you know, we live in a diverse world, and what is relevant to one country isn't, and therefore chambers can breach that gap by ensuring that those who are in power are able to put up policies that are friendly towards ensuring that business happens in a more diverse way. I can't express the importance of driving elements from a perspective of convergence, and the chambers are key towards this particular concept and activity. I think for me, in essence, the concept efforts of chambers of commerce in championing the interest of halal enterprises, fostering collaboration, providing targeted support, and advocating for conducive policies and desirable of catalyzing growth and global impetuousness of the halal industry cannot be better resonated. That is my conclusion on this element. Jazakallah so much for listening to me.
Thank you, Professor Halima, for this highly valuable input, especially as Minara is a role model for how Chamber of Commerce can catalyze the halal ecosystem and the halal market, specifically in non-Muslim country. Now I will move for our last panelist, as I mentioned, Mr. Thomas Guerrero. I hope he is in. He is the director of the Halal Trade and Marketing Center, and he will be telling us about the role of trade organizations in facilitating networking and market opportunities for halal businesses. Okay, unfortunately, due to technical issues, which is usually happens during big moments, we lost the connection with him. So I will move for the questions for our esteemed panelists, and I will start by Mr. Yunus about the role of trade organizations. As trade organizations play a vital role in supporting the growth of the halal industry, this discussion explored the specific services they provide. My question will be, how can trade organizations act as advocates for halal businesses and facilitate trade negotiations, connect them with potential partners and investors on a global scale?
Thank you very much. Before starting to give this answer for this question, I also would like to give some numbers. And one of the numbers is, I'm very happy to see each year, day after day, halal trade and also halal industry is growing. And it's almost reached $6 trillion US dollars each year. And also $3 trillion was related with Islamic financial activities. And also in the other sectors like food and beverage industry, it's more than $1 trillion, cosmetics, chemical products, medicine, and the other industries as well. The total is coming around more than $6 trillion. So each of them are also supporting each other's, like a chains. So we have to establish this kind of the chains business area side to supporting each others for each sectors. And for this issue, also we are doing, as you know, as an event organizer, also we are giving support on this kind of activities as well, to bringing all the partners each other and sharing their knowledge each other, and also take care about to buyers and sellers to bring each other and try to help them to find each other. And one of the points, innovation and knowledge. The halal industry thrives on innovation. To foster collaboration, we can create knowledge hubs, centralized platforms for sharing researches and best practices. Promote partnerships, encourage joint ventures between companies, research institutions, and universities. Host events, this is also our side. Organize conferences and workshops for networking and idea exchange. Provide incentives, offer grants and awards for innovative projects. The private sector can drive innovation by building networks, invest in research and development projects using technology. And secondly, role of the trade organization. Trade organizations support the halal industry by representing halal business in policy discussion and trade talks, by facilitating the trade as organizing expos and matchmaking events to connect the business with partners and investors, by certification ensuring the products meet halal products to build consumer trust, by training providing educational programs to improve the industry skills, by promoting research partnerships and securing the funding for innovation. In summary, trade organizations help halal business by advocating, facilitating trade, certifying products, offering training, and supporting research and development. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Yunus. My next question will be for Engineer Ashraf, and it will be around the private sector collaboration. Within the vast halal ecosystem, individual companies can significantly benefit from collaborations. This explores strategies for strengthening these partnerships. My question will be, what specific initiatives or platforms can be established to facilitate knowledge sharing, joint ventures, collecting marketing efforts within this halal sector?
Thank you, Mohammed. That's a very good question. I think the market is too big for any single entity to approach. There is no company or organization that's big enough to approach the halal market alone. Companies need to work with each other, need to work with trade unions and chambers to approach this market. But yet, having said that, it's not always easy. So what we do is that we do conferences like this, we do exhibitions, we do trade mission in various countries. And in various countries, I don't focus only on Muslim countries, I also talk about non-Muslim countries. And the things start with, again, awareness. Companies need to understand what is the halal market, what's a requirement, what's the challenges, and how to approach it. They need to understand that. And once they understand that and start getting to get motivated in it, they can join other initiatives we do, such as trade missions. For example, if we are going to South Africa, we ask South Africans, what are you mostly exporting and what are you mostly importing and from whom? And then we ask the 57 Muslim other countries for a counterpart to this. So when we do a trade mission, we do a targeted trade mission that has a pre-arranged meeting where we mean business. Again, business was business. It just doesn't want to hear lectures and that's it. He wants to meet and do transactions. So we facilitate this. The other alternative direction is finding trade partners. There is no company that's absolute buyer and there is no company that's absolute supplier. Any company needs to buy ingredients and need to sell their products. And each company, to sell their product, they need to find trade partner, they need to find retailer, agent, and stuff like that, and they need to find suppliers as well. How to find such trade partners in different countries that is new to this company? The answer is technology. As my friend Yunus was just saying, technology comes to the rescue. So a platform that we are doing, it's very similar to Alibaba. But for example, if you go to Alibaba and ask about halal, you will find thousands of companies that is stating itself as halal. How does companies know that halal is truly halal? Now we have the expertise and we do the due diligence for any company that states halal to see its certificate and verify and validate that it's truly halal. We can do that and we know the way to do it. So whoever on this platform is truly certified as halal from a credible, and I mean accredited certification body. This way, companies can find partners, can find suppliers of their ingredients from all over the world. And by that, they can find better value and can grow their business. And that's what companies and business want, to grow the business. So we facilitate this through awareness, we facilitate this through exhibition that we do, trade mission, and the platform that we operate. So, thank you, Mohammed.
Thank you, Engineer Ashraf, for highlighting the customer journey from starting from the awareness to get enabled to start making business till growth. Now my next question will be for Professor Halima about the marketing halal products globally. Reaching new markets and diverse consumer segments require effective marketing strategies. This discussion explores how private companies can leverage trade organization support. My question will be, how can the halal business adopt effective marketing strategies to reach a global audience with diverse cultural preferences?
Thank you for the interesting question. I think, yes, diverse markets and in terms of effective marketing strategy. And the important thing is to actually understand what the dynamics of the country that you are wanting to trade with is. I will just give an example with South Africa, which is a country that I come from. We are a diverse country and we are not a Muslim country per se, but we have a lot of Muslims within the country. And my experience has been that because of the community which is effective and efficient, the Muslim community, so to speak, which is what I'm part of, people have understood and got to embrace the halal concept. When you go to an event, there's usually the halal section and the non-halal section, and you will get everyone actually going to the halal section because people have got to understand what the meaning halal means, how the food is taken care of up until you consume it. So for us, it's about us having to have embraced the concept of halal as a country. So I think in terms of marketing strategies, some of them are just within the society in terms of how it carries itself out and how it gets integrated within the community. But more importantly, from a perspective of research, you talk about cultural sensitivity, which becomes part and parcel of how we conduct our functioning within the country. We are embracive, and therefore that becomes an element that gets built into our daily functionality. Localization of the market efforts, I think those are some of the key components. You find that research has proven that all the big companies who have succeeded throughout the world, which are listed in the stock exchanges and are the top 100 or top 50 countries, are investing a lot in their research and understanding the different zones that they want to establish themselves in. they say, yes, when you go somewhere, you do as is done, but you diversify that to present yourself. But you can't bring a shocker to the system. You need to wean and understand the system for you to be able to then present your product as efficiently and effectively. As a result, in South Africa, we are quite embracing for the halal industry, and within the rural areas, people understand halal, although they are not educated, because it's something that has been popularized and has been part of the culture. Certification and transparency. In my research, I found that this is an area that the researchers find there needs to be more transparency in terms of getting the broader public to understand how the certification is done. There are different organizations, and therefore the strategy here is to actually capacitate people of how this process takes place, because as it's been mentioned, what is the authentication thereof? It's relative. So therefore there needs to be that capacity development in that area. And digital marketing, I think it's been spoken about. We're living in a very highly electronic era, which is driven by data and driven by what is presented on the different platforms. And you need to really serve and understand what platforms present information which is current and information which is authentic. So digital marketing and e-commerce becomes an important component, but you need to be associated with the relevant marketing platform. In terms of collaborations and the local influencers, we understand these days that there are influencers who are carrying brands, and therefore this becomes a current. And if you want to appeal to the younger generation in terms of how you market your product, you'll need to incorporate them, because there are those that would be, I would say, diligent enough to carry out the product that you are wanting to present to them. Particularly in the fashion and beauty industry, there are those influencers who work largely with products that are being halal to a component of having to present those as a way of having to get more people to understand and authenticate these particular products within the concept of halal. I think largely for me, my research really lifted on these as the key focus areas that would really turn up your margins by at least within a period of a year by 50%. That is what research has proven in terms of this case studies that were undertaken. Thank you, Program Director.
Thank you, Professor Halima. If you allow me, I have another question which is inspired from what you have said now. What is the role that can the trade organization play in assisting the halal business regarding the market research and the consumer trend analysis?
I think data for me is important. There are experiences that need to be presented, and the organizations that are there need to be open about what they come across when they do the work, so that researchers could incorporate this, and it could become the snowball effect of research, which is forever changing, other than to just rely on content or context, because context is what is written, but practicality becomes something that the organizations that are dealing with halal products come across on a daily basis. And this kind of information could give us real-time authentication of resolves. And I spoke earlier on about decision-making that is based on data, because as you understand the research terminologies, the data becomes a current component that you need to base your research on. And therefore, for me, it's about feeding back into the system and just not relying on outdated information which would have been docketed some time back. Thank you.
Thank you, Professor. Now my next question will be for Mr. Yunus about the innovation. As you mentioned, innovation. How can the private sector act as a catalyst for knowledge exchange, connecting company with research institution and industry expert to drive innovation across the halal supply chain?
Thank you very much again. Actually, I already gave this answers in my speech, but I will also would like to add some other things inside. For the technology, especially, it's very important to establish the chain between the industries, each others, in order to, like a blockchain, in order to use Islamic finance to support halal products production and services business as well. So halal industry thrives on innovation. To foster collaboration, we can create knowledge hubs, which is centralized platforms for sharing researches and best practices. The second one, promote the partnerships with the technology. So encourage the joint ventures between the companies, for event companies as well. So research institutions and universities collaboration. Host events to organize conference together to work on it and bring all around the world, I mean all the organizers together to support each other to reach and provide offer grants and awards for the innovative projects. So thank you very much again.
Thank you, Mr. Yunus. Thank you. My next question will be for Engineer Ashraf about the trade promotion and market research. As the trade organizations can play a vital role in promoting halal exports and identifying new market opportunities, how can trade organizations leverage data and market analysis to identify emerging market trends, providing valuable insights to halal business seeking to expand their global reach?
Okay. As Professor Halima said, basing the decision on numbers is very fruitful for the decision-making process, and basically the IT now allows for quantification of most of the transaction being done, and you can reach actually lots of numbers and insights from basic search on the internet. Now, using this together with the commercial data available to Chamber of Commerce's, this can allow business to make a better decision of where to go. It's not just what product to manufacture or produce, but also where to sell it and how to sell it. Part of the intelligence comes for the consumer, what is the consumer appetite for, and part of it comes from the industry itself and the trade numbers, what is being consumed in which country, in what format. This is very important. Also the idea, again, if I may get to the previous question of innovation. Innovation is very important to be on the leading part. We shouldn't be a follower in everything. And innovation spectrum is very large and open for everything. For example, the lab testing of halal products. How can I test a specimen of meat to find out if there is najis component or not? How can I make a test to find if it is slaughtered in a proper way or not? There should be innovation in doing so. There should be innovation in the cleaning agents that's being used so that cleaning should be proper and matching the Sharia compliant regulations. There should be innovation into, for example, the gelatin and how to prepare gelatin that is Muslim friendly and at the same time cost competitive. It's not only gelatin that is halal friendly. For example, vanilla to extract vanillin out of it, the most basic agent is alcohol. How can we replace this? So a lot of space for innovation. If we left this and went into the technology, lots of platforms need to be there to increase awareness and verify products and identify what elements in the products that typical consumer does not know. Unfortunately, companies now tend to say artificial coloring. Okay, what is the artificial color. Artificial scent, what is that? People don't know. And if they add a chemical value E51. So what is this? Now technology can support this, can identify the actual component and help the traceability. Another direction, totally different, is unfortunately in the past couple of years we have been seeing a trend in the media production companies of producing media that's not very friendly to family and our beliefs. And we have seen in the late years a broadcast channels that is family friendly. That's innovation, that's packaging of an existing product into a different way to cater to a certain market segment. So family friendly or halal broadcast, halal entertainment is another kind of innovation. Now, having said that, all this can be measured, and all this measurement boils down again to analysis and data that we should base our decision upon. Because the day of a typical traditional business that doesn't have anything related to technology is over. Any company is selling through internet, any company is measuring its sales, measuring its trade, measuring the consumption, actually measuring the consumer appetite currently through social media and certain very easy tools is becoming very easy. I can very easily monitoring what's the appetite of consumer to the word halal. Quite easy. What's their appetite to the word najas? How many searches is being done on this subject? All this information can be deducted quite easily from the internet currently. So companies too need to understand this and direct some of their research focus in this direction. And it's not very difficult and it's not very costly actually. Thank you, Mohammed.
Thank you, Engineer Ashraf. If you allow me, I have a question. Actually, this question will be for Engineer Ashraf and for Mr. Yunus as representing for the private sector. Moving forward, as the individual companies can significantly benefit from collaboration and working together actually, how can the private sector companies within this halal industry collaborate? How can they work together from your standpoint of view? I will start with Engineer Ashraf.
Okay. One hand cannot clap. The market is huge for any single company to handle it itself. No one can work alone. So me as a company, I have to work with other companies that's actually doing the same thing in other places in the world. We have to shake hands and work together in good faith. We cannot grow alone. That doesn't work. And if I'm talking about events, for example, like my friend, Brother Yunus is working, actually events are collaborating now and going into a series of events. Not single event is doing it alone. A company that's working in the food are collaborating with other companies and approaching the market alone. Now, companies working in the food has to collaborate with logistic company, has to collaborate with packaging company, has to collaborate with marketing companies. No one can work alone. It's a supply chain that we have to follow all the way from farm to fork, if I may say so. Now, if we take this in a different direction from an investment perspective, from entrepreneurship perspective. Now, an entrepreneur to grow from an idea into a sustainable business cannot do it alone. Again, he needs collaboration. The owner of the idea needs business, needs marketing, needs finance, and needs fund, needs investment to put in, needs companies that would distribute and help him mark. No one can work alone in any discipline in the world. It didn't happen and will not happen. Any company, any large company that's now one of the mega companies, let's take anyone without saying, no, I have to say names. Let's say, take Google, for example, or Samsung, or any gigantic company. They never went to where they are now by doing everything by themselves. They collaborate. At some point of time, they acquire a company, but again, they are collaborating. They are searching for other companies and they are growing big. So one hand cannot clap. We have to collaborate. we shouldn't compete, we should integrate, and we should cooperate together. Thank you.
Thank you, Engineer Ashraf. Mr. Yunus, if you allow me to hear your standpoint of view regarding collaboration between business entities in order to help this market to grow. How can business companies collaborate together, work together from your standpoint of view in order to help the total halal market to grow?
Thank you very much. And totally I agree with Mr. Ashraf. And he also mentioned many important points on the industry. Like, for example, if you are a producer of the foods, you have to collaborate emballage companies. If you are an emballage company, you have to collaborate to a finance company in order to finance your business. And also, if you're a finance company, for example, you have to make some other events outside of the country to bring people to each other and support each other as well, to do some business networking. So you need also, for the tourism industry's collaboration. So if you are a tourism company, for example, in your programs, in your hotels, you should use the products for the halal. So like champagne, like cosmetics products. So they are all normally supporting each other as a consumer when you are take a look to all this business. And on the event industry, as Mr. Ashraf says, for example, we are now in Kazan. We are supporting Kazan Forum. And on November, we will be in Istanbul. We will support each other for World Halal Summit. So after that, we will be in Saudi Arabia, maybe, and also we will support each other in this program as well. So the good things for the halal industry, all people are ready to collaboration, are ready to support each other. I think this is our best chance to grow this industry and support this industry.
Thank you, Mr. Yunus. Thank you. Professor Halima, allow me to ask you from the other side of the river, how can trade organizations collaborate together to drive this market to grow?
Thank you. I think from the industry's perspective, the collaboration is of course driven by common goals. And I think if everyone understands where they can fit in, it's like a puzzle. For me, everything is about science, and it needs to form a perfect shape. And in terms of the collaboration component key, the digital component in terms of feeding into those that would want to take an area of focus and trying to ensure that everyone's needs are accommodated, because the important thing is to come together understanding what the other partner requires out of the partnership, and for the partnership to of course be strong, and for the terms of engagement to be set out from the beginning, so that everyone sees value in the partnership component as an overall holistic picture. So key areas of collaboration lie in the product and the value there too, and driven by the market appetite that is existing, and of course the different components of innovation coming up with other areas that one can add as value adds. I think in the business terminology, it's the value adds over and above. What distinguishes you from the rest? It's like being in this room. We are all the same, but there's difference about each and every one of us. So for me, those are the key to close the gaps. There are gaps, and as it has been said, this is a huge industry, and everyone needs everyone, but there are elements that are still need to be facilitated on. Thank you.
Thank you, Professor Halima. And if our esteemed panelists allow me, as a player in this market, to tell my standpoint of view, as collaboration is within the core of Islam. This market is really big and is growing very fast. No one can handle this market alone. We need to collaborate together as we are all working at the end to satisfy Muslim consumers, which is huge number. The market numbers, as you mentioned, is huge. So it deserves this collaboration in order to recap this growth and to catch and to satisfy the Muslim consumer needs. Before closing, I would ask my esteemed panelists if they have any final remarks, and I will start by Professor Halima. Professor Halima, any final remarks?
I think for me, I just want to thank the organizers. There's been insightful discussions, and ours is to take it to the next level. And I'm certainly going to go back and share with those that are not here today so that we could spread some of the key comments that are made by the presenters. So we must learn a culture of tapping back and allowing everyone to be at the same level that we are at. Otherwise, if you're running a race, and this is not a race, as Mr. Tamboli has said, we need to run it together, so everyone needs to understand. Thank you for the opportunity.
Thank you, Professor. Mr. Yunus, do you have any final remarks?
Thank you very much for your invitation. I'm very happy and glad to be here, this platform. And also I would like to thank also for the organizer. And this is really great events, and each year this organization is getting more bigger. Inshallah, next year we will be here together also. And again, thank you very much for participants, for your listening and coming here. And also, of course, for our president, Chairman, and also I would like thanks for you as well.
Thank you, Mr. Yunus. Thank you. Engineer Ashraf, final remarks?
Well, it's a bit difficult with this music, but let me try. We are here in a business forum, in a business exhibition, a business context, yet this is incentivized by God, by a direct order from God. يا أيها الناس كلوا مما في الأرض حلالا طيبا. Now, this order is for humans, not for Muslims. So halal is for everybody, it's not only for Muslims. And the second thing, وَتَعَاوَنُوا عَلَى الْبِرِّ وَالتَّقْوَى وَلَا تَعَاوَنُوا عَلى الْإِثْمِ وَالْعُدْوَانِ. That's again a direct order for Muslims to cooperate together for the sake of everybody. So let's cooperate together for the sake of Ummah and spread halal. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Engineer Ashraf. Thank you, our esteemed panelists. If I want to quote at the end, the highlight of this session is collaboration. This market is big and is still growing and will be still growing. There is a gap, there is a demand, there is a Muslim consumer's demand. We need to collaborate to satisfy it. As I mentioned, our ultimate objective all as a halal market players is to satisfy the Muslim consumer needs. Thank you, our esteemed panelists. Thank you all. Thank you.